Hey everyone, Zach here from Windows Central and welcome back to another video. Now today we are unboxing and taking a first look at Microsoft's new adaptive accessories. Microsoft sent over a pizza box, but inside this pizza box is 4 of its new adaptive accessories. We have the adaptive hub, we have the adaptive button, we have the adaptive mouse, and we have the adaptive mouse tail. So we'll be unboxing all of these in this video, putting it all together, setting it all up and taking a first look at how all of these work. So let's dive straight in. So let's begin with the adaptive mouse. This is a tiny little square that's a mouse, and the whole point of these accessories is that they can be built upon, they can be added to via 3D printing or however you want to create these extensions. The whole point is you can shape it in any way you want. So as you can see in the box here, we get our literature as well as the mouse itself. Within this little sleeve here, we have a very brief sort of tutorial on how to set this up, as well as our literature and our charging cable. This is a USB-C to USB-A cable, which is pretty standard, and that's how you charge this. If we take out the sort of mouse itself, it's a very tiny mouse, as you can see here. Let's take off this wrapping and show you what it looks like. Here we are. This is the mouse. Very clicky buttons, which is really nice to hear. And yeah, like I said, this is designed to be built upon. You can attach things, and Microsoft has sent over its mouse tail, which we'll unbox in just a second, which is an example of what you can do to this little puck to enhance it and sort of create your own accessory with it. So if we pull off this little back bit here, that is where you can detach the thing that comes with it, and then you can reattach other sort of accessories that either you 3D print or you can buy from somebody else who may have 3D printed it already. So yeah, let's grab the mouse tail here and show you how this goes together. So this is a sort of ergonomic mouse tail. It has a thumb rest on it, and yeah, it's a very basic sort of accessory, very plasticky, but again, that's the whole point. These are sort of 3D printed things. So if we pop that off here and connects to the mouse tail, we now have a fully functioning sort of mouse looking thing, and it functions just as you'd expect. It feels like a normal mouse, and I can now begin mousing around. I can now begin mousing around on my computer. Now what's great about this is that the thumb rest here is actually replaceable, and you can swap it around as well. So if I pull this off here and switch it over, if you're left-handed, for example, you can use this mouse left-handed just fine. You can jump into settings and also flip the left and right click buttons, and that is pretty awesome. And you can also use it without the thumb rest if that's something you prefer. Like this, it's kind of like a chunkier Surface Arc mouse, which is pretty funny. But there you have it. That is the mouse tail, and that's just one example of what you can do with this mouse, thanks to its ability to build off. You can 3D print your own things. You could 3D print something completely different if you wanted, but that's the accessory that Microsoft sells as the sort of demo or example accessory as to what you can do with this adaptive mouse, which is pretty awesome. All right, up next, let's take a look at the adaptive button and the adaptive hub. Now, these go hand in hand, whereas the mouse can sort of be connected to a PC on its own. These two go together, so you have to use the adaptive hub to connect an adaptive button to a PC, but that's good because you can connect multiple adaptive buttons to the hub and then switch the hub between PCs with a click of a button, which is really nice. Anyway, here's the adaptive button itself. This is a sort of D-pad, similar to the Xbox Elite controller's D-pad, has 9 buttons on it, and you can configure all of those buttons to do something different via Microsoft's Accessory Center app. Quick impressions of the buttons. The buttons are quite mushy on this, which isn't great. The tactile feedback is quite it's almost non-existent. It's very difficult to actually tell if you press the button or not. I don't know if that's just my unit, but it's something I figured I'd note. Here's what you get in the little sleeve here. You get your literature, and you get a USB-C to USB-C cable, and that's because you can either connect this to the hub wirelessly, or you can connect it via USB-C as well. Here's the hub itself. Again, we have our literature here and the hub, which looks like this. Very small. All of this is plastic. Feels very nice. But as you can see, it shows fingerprints like nobody's business. 3 USB-C ports on the front there, 5 3.5mm jacks on the back for assistive technologies, and then we have our USB-C ports on the side there. We have our profile switcher, our Bluetooth pair button, our accessories pair button there, power button, and as I mentioned, a USB-C charging port on the other side. So let's get all of this set up. Actually, wait, before we do that, let's quickly look at the literature. Any different? No, it's the same. We have a USB-A to USB-C cable, and that is about it. So let's get these all set up here. So to do this, the mouse is very easy. It's just like a normal Bluetooth mouse. You connect it via Windows Bluetooth settings, and you should be good to go. Connecting any of these accessories will automatically download the Microsoft Accessories app, which is where you can configure them. So by default, the DPI on this mouse was set to 1600, I think, or 1800. It was very high. So jumping into the Microsoft Accessories app allows you to turn that down, which is the first thing I do. I turn it down to about 1000, so it's a little bit easier to use on this small screen. But once we're in here, as you can see, let's get to the app itself. Let's go through the setup process. So here's the adaptive mouse. If we tap on that, you'll see all of the settings, as well as a quick sort of tutorial on how to get started. So we can set different DPIs, of course, which is, like I said, the first thing I go in and do. We also have, you can customize all the buttons. You can change their function and purpose. You can swap them around if you'd like. And you can also add different mouse tails, as we have just demoed a minute ago. So we just press done here. You can see, first thing I do, turn down the cursor speed because it was just too high for me. And then we have the ability to reverse scrolling directly within the app, which is really nice. And we also have the ability to adjust the cursor angle, which is really interesting. So what this allows you to do is change the sort of position, the way in which the laser pointer is actually pointing. So for example, you can set it so that moving the mouse right will actually move the cursor left. Now this may be useful for using the mouse in a 3D printed sort of extension that may not have the actual front of the mouse pointing forward. Things like that can help with adjusting the angle there. So that's pretty awesome. Then of course you can change what the left, right, and wheel buttons do, including enable sticky buttons. So if you need to press the mouse button once, you can tell Windows to hold that button down even if you've let go of it, which is really nice. So up next is the adaptive hub. Now, like I said, if you want to pair an adaptive button to a PC, you have to do it via the hub. So if we power this on here, just like with the adaptive mouse, Windows will automatically pick it up and ask if you'd like to connect. So if we tap on connect there, we'll see it show up in the accessories app. Interestingly, Windows identifies it as a Bluetooth keyboard, even though it's very clearly not. So yeah, once that's connected, it should show up in the app like so, and then we can go through the setup process for the adaptive hub. Very similar to the adaptive mouse, you get a brief tutorial on what this thing does. So yes, meet your new adaptive hub. The adaptive hub can connect to your current assistive technology. Pair your adaptive hub with PCs, tablets, and more, then switch between them by pressing the Bluetooth button. You can connect your adaptive hub to the Microsoft adaptive buttons via USB-C or via wirelessly. So that's very interesting. That's why they include a USB-C to USB-C cable with the button, because you can plug one end into the button and the other end into the USB-C ports on the front of the adaptive hub. There's also the assistive switches on the back, similar to the Xbox adaptive controller. And then we also have different profiles. So you can actually switch between 3 profiles and you can configure them to have the buttons do different things in each profile, which is pretty awesome. And then here we are, we have the hub settings. You can configure all of those 3.5 ports, which is fantastic. We can also enable sticky buttons, of course. And now we want to pair the adaptive button to the adaptive hub. You press the sync button on both for 3 seconds and they should pair up automatically. And you'll see that happen within the app. It should appear along the bottom there in just a second. There we are. So if we tap on that, we now get another tutorial on what the adaptive button can do. So as you can see, the topper can be changed. By default, we have this sort of 9-button D-pad here. But you can also get like a joystick sort of shape thing. You can get one with 2 buttons. And of course, you can 3D print your own if you'd like. I'll show you how to remove the topper in a minute. Unfortunately, we don't have any other toppers to demo. But we can demo taking on and putting on, taking off and putting on the adaptive button D-pad we have here. So you can see we can configure all of these buttons to do a number of different things. By default, they will not assign, but of course we can set one here to do a Windows shortcut. So if we set this to open the snipping tool, now if I press the up button here, that will open the Windows snipping tool, which is pretty fancy. And we can also do a long press as well. So a long press can be an entirely different task if you would prefer it that way. So let's actually do that here. Oh, no, let's open calculators first. Another example of the single press. Now, if we switch over to long press here, which is happening any second now, there we go. We can now set this to, say, for example, open task view. So you can do, the same button can do 2 different tasks depending on how long you hold it for. So we do a Windows shortcut here, Win plus Tab, which should open task view. So press and hold. And there we are. So that's how it works. All of those buttons are customizable, so you can set it up to do a number of different things if you'd like, which is pretty awesome. Again, supports sticky buttons, which is something really handy as well. And there we are. Now, like I said, the tactility of these buttons on the D-pad isn't very good. They're very mushy buttons, so keep that in mind if you're looking for this and you need something very tactile. At least my model isn't very tactile. Maybe you can change that with different toppers, but with this default D-pad here, it's not a very tactile experience, but it still functions as you would expect. Now, as I mentioned, you can customize the topper. Microsoft does sell a handful of other toppers itself, but this is an open platform here. You can 3D print your own toppers if you'd like as well. And to remove the topper you already have installed, this is very simple. You simply just take 2 thumbs and twist ever so slightly. You'll see that here. So 2 thumbs here, then turn to the left, and then it's unlocked, and then you can sort of pour it out and replace it. And that's what it looks like without a topper on. So again, you can 3D print your own toppers, or you can buy one of Microsoft's pre-made toppers. And then to reinstall, you just line up the sort of grooves here and then twist it back into place like so. And then it locks in and you're good to go. Super simple to set up and works pretty nicely. So there we are. That is a quick look at the adaptive hub, the adaptive button, and the adaptive mouse and adaptive mouse tail. This is a fantastic set of assistive accessories which can be built upon and customized in many ways to fit everybody's needs. Thank you so much for watching, and we shall see you in the next one. Bye-bye.